सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। दयाकरं दयाकारं प्रणमामि दयानन्दं मदाचार्यवरं परम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च। Second mantra, which is talking about the nimitta karanatvam. Second mantra, yeah, that's what we are talking about. I'm just introducing it again because lot gets transpired over breakfast. So what happens over breakfast? All the blood from the head goes to the food to digest. So that's why just situating us, situating us. Second mantra, which talks about the nimitta karanatvam of this jagat. Nimitta karana means what? That which is the intelligence in wielding the raw material, that which directs the raw material to do various things. That is what is the nimitta karana. So therefore, this is the idea here. And then so we have the mantra that says that a kind of a scary mantra. What does it say? Bhagavan is like some tyrant, some kind of a dictator. And here that's not the idea. The idea is not of dictatorship. It's not of dictatorship. It's to show that things are not randomly running. There is no randomness in the universe at all. There is orderliness. And even if we don't like the order and we call it disorder, that order includes the disorder. The order is so vast, it includes the disorder. So, this is the mantra that says whatever is there in this jagat is Brahman alone in the form of Ishvara, from whom everything has been set into motion. And then, and what kind of a motion? Niyamena cheshtate. Everything is a wonderful, orderly motion. And then, why is there orderly motion? Because there is a dada, a big boss as it were, with a hand upraised carrying a weapon. There is no boss, there is no weapon, but it's a powerful metaphor for us to understand. It's just a powerful metaphor. There is really no boss. What boss is there? Like, it's not like Ishvara is bossy. That Ishvara is you. Okay? But there is a fear. Even for the jivas, there is a fear. Oh my God, if I do wrong things. Nowadays there is fear of CCTV camera, because everywhere now those cameras are there. So even in the ashram, so everywhere they do the function of Ishvara, these all seeing cameras. So if supposing somebody is committing a theft, picking the pocket of somebody else, then you look around, any camera there? Okay, no camera, here, come back. And then you pick the pocket. So just like the CCTV camera, wherever it is there where naturally thefts are less. Even the camera may not be working. Sometimes, because the camera is expensive, you can buy dummy cameras, just one plastic piece with a glass, kind of a reflective glass attached to it. Everybody thinks it's camera, but it's not connected to anything, it's not even a camera. camera iva. Okay? So it's a kind of like a camera, but even that is enough to say, oh, okay, I was just about to cuff you, but then I open the fingers and then pet you instead. So this is what, this is exactly how the Udyatakaram functions. Just the idea that somebody is running it causes who? The people who don't have viveka, who don't have dharma, to be scared. Right? But what about all the Chandra Tarakam, all these things, all the sun and the moon, they also are what? Those devatas presiding over them are also what? Exalted jivas, who also need to get this knowledge to be free. So they are also exalted jivas who have punya vishesha, and because of the punya vishesha they have become Yama, etc. Yama also has a boss. Yes, that is Ishvara. In fact, there is no such thing. Yama is a manifestation of that Bhagavan in the form of the niyama of life and death. But to understand that takes a little bit of a what's its name? Takes a little bit of a maturity. This is just playing on our already known fear. So, tatha, just like the servants fall in line when they see the master coming towards them with a gun or with a whip, idam. So, idam means this whole jagat comprising Chandra, Aditya, Chandra, Moon, Aditya, Sun, Graha, other planets, Nakshatra, Tarakadi, other stars and other heavenly bodies, Lakshanam. So, this jagat is having the characteristics of all these heavenly celestial bodies is indeed what? Sa Ishwaram. Ishwarena saha vartate. It cannot be without Ishvara. He is using a certain Shruti Sammata Yukti. He is using logic which is in keeping with what? The Shruti. And so, Sa Ishwaram Niyamena Kshanamapi Avishrantam Vartate iti Uktam Bhavati. Avishrantam means that all the forces are there without even a little bit. The forces are there without even a little bit of rest and without getting tired. Ye etad viduhu Svatma pravritti sakshi bhutam Ekam brahma amritaha amarana dharmanah te bhavanti. So these dhiras, ye etad viduhu. So the person who knows this means if you know that Bhagavan is a tyrant holding a sword and running after people, do you get amarana dharma? No. You don't, you're not free, you're forever afraid and confused. It's a loving God. Okay, then what? Be careful. What is this? Is God loving or do I have to be careful? Both. How is that possible? And then you translate, it should be actually God the mother, God the father, because here God has become what? Godfather. So like this, that instead of God the father, what do you have in this mantra? Godfather, big mafia, lynch man, yes, kingpin of the whole operation. So there is no fatherliness here at all, there is a tyranny. And so you can't know Bhagavan just as somebody who is making the universe function tirelessly. Whip, 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 come on, anatomical order, astronomical order, all these things. No, there's only one way to know this, and Adi Shankara is very, very clear. Svatma pravritti sakshi bhutam brahma ye viduhu. So just like the whole jagat kampate ejati. So how does it ejate? How does it move? It moves just by the mere presence of Bhagavan, this jagat from whom this the jagat which has come from whom, which Bhagavan, how it moves in its own way. on the macro level, on the micro level also, Svatma means one's own. Pravritti Sakshi Bhutam. The word Pravritti must be quietly changed for our understanding as Pratiti. Pravritti here means Pratiti, cognition. Svatma Pravritti Bhutam, in the form of the Sakshi of one's own cognition. This is pot. Pot cognition has taken place. Where all cognition takes place? Where is that? Buddhi. In the Buddhi, pot cognition has taken place. But who is the cognizer? Who is the cognizer? That is Param Brahma. The Sakshi, the Sakshi of, we can't even say who is the cognizer, who is the witness of the cognition, who is the witness of the status of cognizer, and who is the witness of the object of cognition. That one is neither cognizer nor cognition nor the object of cognition. That is Param Brahma, because of whom all these orderly cognitions take place. And the birth of this orderly cognition, it is orderly because it happens in the same manner all the time. The birth of this cognition, what happens when the birth of this cognition? Slight change takes place, as though. In this consciousness, placid and tranquil like a lake, without any vrittis, without any pratitis, without any bodha. Bodha here means cognition. Without any cognition, then you throw, like a child, you throw just for fun a small pebble, creates ripples. Let's say it creates 3 concentric ripple circles. Cognizer, the means of cognition, object of cognition. Are they intrinsic to the lake, the water? No. The water is not prachalitam. It is not by itself, it is not subject to movement, and the movement is as though. So the as though change that happens when the Atma, quote unquote, becomes a cognizer without undergoing any change, that is ejate. That is the small kampanam, that is the small movement in the body mind sense complex also. In this micro level also we see a small as though change when the Sakshi, what kind of Sakshi? The Sakshi Chaitanya, which was sleeping, there was no Sakshya, there was no Sakshya Vastu. Sakshi is a relative epithet, relative status. Witness means there should be something to witness. If there is nothing to witness, can I be called witness? No, nothing to witness. So the Sakshi was like the lake, nothing to witness. So cannot even be called Sakshi. The latent Sakshi, the potential Sakshi was in the form of Chaitanya, consciousness. Now that consciousness saw something, and then that consciousness awoke to the pratiti of the pot. So Ghata Vritti took place, and that slight, this ejanam, slight kampanam was there, slight as though shift from non-Sakshi Bhuta consciousness to Sakshi Bhuta consciousness, that slight as though change. I see pot. Now I am what? Sakshi of pot. Before I was what? Sakshi of nothing. That cannot even be called a Sakshi, technically speaking. There was no Sakshya Vastu Abhavat. There was no Sakshita. Sakshita is what? Comes and goes. Sakshita is anitya. It's an as though superimposition upon that consciousness which is free of being Sakshi. Free of being Sakshi. It is totally free of being Sakshi. And then that which is the pot, which is the object of Sakshita, the Sakshi karma, the object of witnessing, also is free of being object. It is just consciousness. All there is consciousness, which as though simultaneously morphs into knower, known means of knowledge, without actually becoming the knower, without actually becoming the known, without actually becoming the means of knowing. So it supports all three without becoming any one of them. So this Brahman, which for the world of ignorant people is like somebody coming and rattling the sword and making all the objects function, is seen here as the truth of the knower known knowledge. And as we dismantle this Triputi, this inner triad, then the whole Jagat also as a separate entity from Ishvara gets dismantled. And so the one who knows myself, the one who knows oneself as the Sakshi of all the changes that are taking place, the one because of whom the Sakshita happens, the one who sustains the Sakshi, the object of Sakshitvam, all that is Bhagavan alone. The one who knows Amarana Dharmanaha Te Bhavanti. They become no more subject to death because they are not identified even with their mind or buddhi, let alone their body. Continuing with the same idea, the next verse is presented. And Adi Shankara says, the purpose of the next verse is Katham Bhayat Jagat Vartate Iti Aha. So what is this fear like? And the Kathopanishad has done a very bad copy-paste job from the Taittiriya Upanishad because it is little bit out of rhyme also. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, what is there? Bhishasmad vataf pavate bhishodeti suryah bhishasmad agnischendrascha mrityurdhavati panchama iti. Let us chant this and look at all the changes. Bhayadasyad agnistapati bhayat tapasi suryah bhayat chandrascha vayuscha mrityurdhavati panchamaha. Yeah. So bhishasmad vataf pavate. So bhishasmad vataf pavate. So the vata is first in that mantra. Here the vata is the fourth one in this mantra. Do you see the change? Yeah. Bhishodeti suryah. So the Surya is the second one, and here in this mantra the Surya is the third one. Then Bhishasmad vataf pavate bhishodeti suryah bhishasmad agnischa indrascha. So Agni and Indra are number 3 and 4 in that mantra. And then what else? Here Agni is number 1 and Indra is number 3. So it's like a bad copy-paste job. It's like somebody who takes things, like a student who takes things off the internet and then says, okay, I shouldn't be accused of plagiarizing, so what should I do? Just change the words around a little bit and then it's my own. Now this mantra is copyrighted by what? Kathopanishad. Lord Yama owns the copyright for this mantra. No longer that we don't have to deal with Taittiriya at all. Same exact mantra. And what does it say? It says that all these heavenly bodies, Adi Shankara has already given us a sneak preview, nothing much to discuss. So all these heavenly bodies, Bhayat Agnihi Tapati. Tapati means it heats and also light, both are there. So Tapa is also in the sense of Prakasha, Tapa is also in the sense of Tapa. So Bhayad Agnis Tapati. It's as though out of fear of the great Lord that the, what is that? Agnihi. Agnihi means what? The fire behaves like fire. So even when it is eating up a few villages, it does not go rogue. It looks at the list given on its mobile. It gets an SMS from Bhagavan, looks at it and says, okay, eat up 5 villages, no more, no less. And then only in accordance to that it eats up. Before the list also it eats up, okay? Yeah, and then it eats up only 5 villages. Tomorrow it gets an SMS, you have to eat 15 villages and it will do swaha for 15 villages. That is what it will do. No more, no less. So you cannot, even though we say out of control fire, help, it is out of control only in your buddhi. Fire just is like, I'm just doing my job. I'm not doing anything more. I'm not out of control. In fact, I'm being controlled. So, bhayadasmat agnihi tapati. And then what else? So, bhayat tapati surya. The sun also, which is what? The son of Agni, the son of fire, which is called sun, sun, also what? Similarly, tapati, lights up. So in the case of Agni, it heats. In the case of fire, it lights. Do you see the slight difference? Otherwise, there was no need to bring in Surya. Surya tapati, Surya lights up, prakashate, and then Agnihi tapati. Then what Agnihi tapati means? Agnihi burns everything. So Bhayad Indrascha. Indra, who is the king of everybody, not to all the lords, all the gods, and not answerable to anybody you think. But Indra also is very uneasy in his kursi. What is kursi? Seat, power, seat of power. Because if anybody does 100 Ashwamedha yajnas, Rajasuya yajnas, which are very, very difficult to do, then they become the next Indra. So it is said Indra doesn't bother with a few yajna. That you have what kind of a small yajna you do at home, bonsai yajna, little bit, all tiny sticks and tiny fire and all these things. Nothing to even clean up afterwards. There's not even a small ghee spill. Okay, this kind of a yajna, if you do at home, like there's this Japanese yajna, very interesting. I went and saw. And they said, please come to the yajna. And I said, where is the yajna? I can't see anything. It was in this small little, very cute Vedi where the thing is there. And true to Japanese style, everything is measured and cut, and all the samid, the fire sticks are all orderly. They come in orderly boxes, nicely wrapped, everything. And then and the ghee spoon was the cutest of all, Yeah, it was tiny, long, and only would dispense 1 drop of ghee if you shook it 3-4 times. Then 1 drop of ghee would come. And then the matchstick to light it was also very cute, very nice, and beautifully it was done, and nothing to clean up after that. You just, basically packed it up and left. And so, if this kind of yajna you do, Indra says, oh, no problem, I'll give you punya. Yeah. Even if that punya you don't deserve, I will give you. Wonderful. Because you said 3 times, Indraya Swaha. Yeah, because they made these small laddus. You need a microscope to see the laddu. Tiny laddu, Indraya Swaha. And then Purnahuti was slightly bigger. They did it everything perfectly, but it's just tiny. Bonsai yajna, like this tiny yajna. And then Indra will say that laddu which you offered was not even enough for one tooth. Okay, but still I'll give you punya. Don't worry. You will have lots of punya. But then what will happen? If you start doing these big messy yajnas, Ashwamedha yajna, you do up till 98, he doesn't get, he's a secure fellow. Up till 97, 98, he's okay. But the 97th, 98th and 99 yajnas, what is he going to do? He's going to unleash everything. He will tell Vayu, go and blow. Suddenly the fire is gone. You cannot do bhasmahuti. You cannot do ahuti in the ashes. And so, what is the thing? What is the point of that? No point at all. The fire has to be burning with all his tongues out. Then only the ahuti has to be placed. And so like this, the Indra himself has got bhaya. Why? Ajnanat. All of them, because of ajnanam, only there is bhaya from the standpoint of the devatas in the celestial bodies. Indra also tries to have a pact with Varuna Devata, go rain on this yajna. And then Indra will bribe the asuras, please go put a bat's wing in the yajna, becomes Dushita. Who would like to have bat's wing in the yajna? Nobody. So put some dead animal in the yajna, thereby making it unfit for the yajna. So like this, Indra is also scared. Vayu is also scared. Scared means they don't na atitya gacchati. They will not cross whatever is there of the order of the geographical order, the order of karma. Then Mrityu, which makes everybody run away from him, Dhavati, Panchamaha. So Panchamaha here means last one, fifth one. How many there are? Agnihi, Suryaha, Vayuhu, what else? Indraha, Vayuhu, and then finally the fifth one is Mrityu. Dhavati, Mrityu runs in whose ordinance? Dhavati here means, what is that? It langhayate, because it jumps. Jumps. How? Because it's not in an orderly fashion as you think. First, 102-year-old gone, then 99-year-old gone, then 98. No. Then you say, oh, I'm only 50, long time to come. No. Mrityu jumps from 99 to age 10, from age 10 to age 50, from age 50 back to 102, and then from 102 back to 49. Like this jumps. Mrityuhu Panchamaha Dhavati. Dhavati. So then what is that? So all these are important functionaries. They control the devatas, they control the weather, all these things. And Lord Yama also runs around, no holiday and no off day, no shift, nothing, no holiday. So let us see only a small bhashya, very easy. Bhayad Bhitya Asya Parameshwarasya Agnihi Tapati. So Bhitya means because out of fear, it is converted into third case, but fear always takes the fifth case. We have seen that. So Bhayad Asya Parameshwarasya Bhayat Agnihi Tapati. Out of fear of Bhagavan, this fire burns. Very straightforward. Bhayat Tapati. Suryaha Bhayad Indrascha Vayuscha Mrityurdhavati Panchamaha. Yeah, so what is that? So he basically just quotes the verse. Adi Shankara says, figure it out, because the first mantra was very clear, and then this mantra is also very, very clear. So just figure it out. All of them are in service of Parameshwara. Nahi Ishvaranam Lokapalanam Samarthanam Satam Niyanta Chet Vajra Udyata Karavat Nasyat. So supposing there was no Ishvara, supposing there was not this perception of somebody who is taking care of all the things. If there was no controller, there would be no order. There would be no order. So then what would happen? Na Swami Bhaya Bhitanam Iva. Swami Bhaya Bhitanam Iva Bhrityanam Niyata Pravrittihi Na Upapadyate. That na you have to bring here. Na upapadyate. So Swami Bhaya. So because of Swami Bhiti, how the servants scurry along and do what is to be done. In the absence of that, any other movement in the Jagat also is not possible at all. Is not possible. And then the third mantra is going to tell us a very is going to interestingly engage in a very dicey question. What is that question? Which is the correct time and which is the correct place to know Brahman. So the third mantra is going to talk about the correct time, and then the fourth mantra is going to discuss the correct place to know the Brahman as oneself. So this is an interesting mantra also. Iha chedashakat bodhum प्राक् शरीरस्य विस्रसः ततः सर्गेषु लोकेषु शरीरत्वाय कल्पते. So these are all funny mantra because they are not complete. It's a funny mantra. Iha chet. So if here means what? In this body. And then iha chet ashakat. Ashakat means shakyah, shaknoti. Ashakat, past tense is there, but it should be taken as present. Iha chet shaknoti. If the person is capable, shaktah chet. Shaktah ihaiva chet. If the person has the adhikaritvam to know, bodhum, to know, tumun, bodhum, to know, the adhikaritvam, the desire to know, and the qualifications to know, if one has here itself, when prak sharirasya visrasaha. Visrasaha means slipping, before the slippage of this body, before one departs this world, before one drops the body, if one has the ability. And then after that, what is there? Purna viramaha, full stop. What is this? It's like a cliffhanger. You don't know what is there. If you start the mantra with a big if you know this, full stop. But what will happen if I know this? We have to supply, because the Lord Yama says, I have already, I was trying to copy paste from Kathopanishad and just forgot how to copy paste, or somebody suddenly called, I had to go harvest a soul. So therefore this was left alone. Please wide mantra in the Kathopanishad which says, what is that? Ihaiva ched avedit. What? Atha satyam asti. So that atha satyam asti, you copy from that and add it to this. Don't worry about the meter. Chandasam. Okay, anything is chandasam. This is also chandasam. So you copy paste from that. Which says atha, therefore satyam asti, meaning that person is as good as existent, as good as Brahman. So iha ched, then you add that and see what happens to the mantra. Iha ched ashakat bodhum, iha ched shakyah bodhum. Whoever, copy. Prak sharirasya visrasaha, before the slipping of this body. Iha ched ashakat bodhum prak sharirasya visrasaha, before the slippage of the body. If somebody is ready to know, if somebody is available to know, then atha satyam asti. You see, now that's a complete sentence. That's a complete sentence. So what number mantra is that? 1-5. Yeah. So 1-5 in 2-5. Yeah, I thought it was in the second one. Yeah, 2-5 in the Kathopanishad. You borrow the last one, copy paste it yourself. This is called DIY Upanishad. Do it yourself Upanishad. Okay? Yeah. How do you do DIY Upanishad? You take pieces of another Upanishad and stick them there, and because you need a complete sentence. And from that Upanishad you know that what happens if you know here. Iha ched avedit. Avedit means bodhum here. Iha ched avedit atha satyam astit. Na chediha avedit mahati vinashtihi. If you don't know here itself, it's a great loss. The loss of the infinite is an infinite loss. That is what that mantra says. So here, Lord Yama was in a hurry. Yeah, somebody called him to the ghat over here, and so he had to run. And so he told, he put a footnote, please copy paste from 2.5 Kathopanishad. So we have to add that. Then the life is fulfilled. Atha satyam asti. Then Brahman is known. Then moksha is there. Then amarana dharma one becomes. All this one has to put. Then second line. Tataha. And therefore, then we have to add one more thing. So what is that? If one doesn't know, nachet, nachet iha avedit, we have to add in the beginning of the second line. So the first line of the mantra is incomplete at the end. The second line of the mantra is incomplete where? At the beginning. So nachet iha avedit tataha sargeshu lokeshu sharirattvaya jayate kalpate, whatever is given there. Yeah. So nachediha avedit, if you don't know here, that is assumed by the Upanishad. So half a mantra you add at the end, half a mantra you add at the beginning from the Kathopanishad. So then it makes sense. If they don't know what happens, second line, typical stuti, ninda, prakriya. So first is the stuti of people who know this in this life itself before the fall of the body, and the second line is the ninda of the people who do not know this before the fall of the body. What happens to them after the body falls? So ihachet ashakat bodhum. Then what? For them there is kalyana, moksha, kaivalya. Kaivalyam ashnute. They enjoy moksha, they enjoy freedom from the body. Even as one is alive, one becomes what is called jivan muktaha. Then second line, if you don't know, if the person doesn't know, sargeshu lokeshu. So for the sargeshu means in the srishti, in all the lokas, in the created lokas worth creating for these kinds of karmas. Sharirattvaya, sharira upabhogaya kalpate. So in order to take on the body, what is the body for? Exhaustion of karmas. In order to enjoy karmas, in order to enjoy good karmas, exhaust bad karmas, that is what the body is for. And so if you don't know this, you will be born again and again and again and again. And if you think being born again is not a bad thing, just scroll back and look at the previous mantra. One of the previous mantras, mrityoho samrityum apnoti yaha nana iva pashyati. So the one goes from death to death. If you say birth to birth, it doesn't register. Birth is nice, wonderful, I'll be born again, I don't have to know right now. So it's a problem if you are a Vaidika. Because if you have understood the first portion of the Veda, then it is very difficult to teach Vedanta because one is stuck there. They know there is rebirth. So then, I don't feel like attending the classes. What to do? Wait for the next life. Yeah, no problem. Because there is rebirth after all. Next life, next ashram, next 3-month course, next. And then, so therefore, first what were you interested in? Soham. But then what did you end up? Hoham. That is where you ended up. And so therefore here, this is given as a cautionary verse, a cautionary mantra that this human life alone is the best place, best time to gain this knowledge. Do not waste this time, because if you waste this time, don't say next life, because next life what may happen? Woof, woof, woof. Yeah. Jellyfish. Yeah, spider. Yeah, because the person was a bungee cord jumping enthusiast. A spider. And some other creepy, crawly, something you can become. No. Darwin says, once you are a human being, you don't devolve into animal. This is not Darwin. This is Shastra. Shastra always wins over Darv. Okay? Yeah. Shastra wins. Darv doesn't win. Shastra wins. And so therefore, Shastra is more ancient than Darwin. Shastra has something to say, and Darwin's evolution is sound from a scientific standpoint. This is from the standpoint of karma phala. So from standpoint of karma phala, if you are a human being, you can be born as anything afterwards. Bhagavan can easily say, I gave you a human life, what did you do with it? Nothing. Therefore, next time you'll be something which does nothing. Yeah. Hippo just does nothing. Nothing at all. Whole day it is just there. And then it becomes an internet meme, baby hippo. Everybody is crazy after this baby hippo. After that, once it grows up, nobody even looks at it. And people have a lot of time on their hands to look at these videos, and even more time on their hands to send it to me. Okay? And I think it's something important. Look at it, and there is a baby hippo there. Yeah. All full muddy. Yes, it is cute. You can't deny that. It was cute. But that's about it. What is it doing? It's just eating a lot. That's what it is. It's eating a lot. And then you see the keeper in this sanctuary somewhere in Thailand throw one whole loaf of bread. No problem. Just swaha, finished. So the various kinds of life forms are awaiting. The human life is the most special because here one is a karta and a bhokta. And what is the truth of oneself? Neither a karta nor a bhokta. How will you know? If you don't know, if you are not in a human life, you won't know. So in Devaloka, what is there? Devaloka, there is only bhoga sharira. Only bhoga is there. And then in other lokas, one is only a bhogi, not a karmi. So here one is an actor, so one can act on one's own behalf to convert the action for self-growth. Only here we can do that. So this is the right time, Shastra says, as a cautionary warning. Sargeshu lokeshu sharirattvaya, and we have to add punah punaha, not just one time. Punah punaha kalpate. He gets ready to be born again and again and again. So we have to know this before the fall of the body. Before the fall of the body, we have to know this. Then the question is, why? Because without attaining this understanding of this Shastra, there is everything that you have is useless. Why? Because other than Brahman, everything is mithya. If you have a lot of mithya achievements, they are all what? Non-existent. And sometimes they can get you into trouble also, because the more the mithya achievements, the less chance that the person will come to Brahman. It's like you say, I'm very rich. Why? Because I have thousands and thousands and thousands of currency notes, fake currency notes in my pocket. I have fake 2000 rupee notes. I have fake 500 rupee notes. Of what use are those 500 rupee notes? No use at all. So this is the reason why without knowing Brahman, the life is purposeless. One reason. Because everything else is mithya. And then second reason, everything that is mithya is finite or infinite. Object, finite. So, drishta nashta svabhava, you go to go to accrue all these achievements. So, somebody got this lot of degrees and she became the best in her field. She was a neuroscientist. And then what? Everything went after she got a stroke. So, it's all finite. She got a stroke and she had to forget whatever her achievements were. She had to learn how to walk all over. So it is what is gained in time is lost in time. Then what else? Then the anityatvam of the universe without knowing Brahman is also there, because when you are, whatever you add, it's finite. You add one more degree, it is finite. You add one more pill to your regimen to be healthy, it is finite. You add one more feather in the cap, it is finite. Finite plus finite plus finite, do not the infinite make. Then finally, the last reason to know Brahman is what? Where it is, whatever you accrue has to be dropped here only in this life. Can you take anything? No. You can't take anything at all. So, when one dies, the fists are open, not carrying anything. When one is born, the fists are tight. The jiva is ready to wrestle with the world, as it were. The fists are tight, very tight. Sometimes even the thumb you cannot see. The child comes like this, and then the person dying goes like that, completely open, nothing to carry. And so this Brahman is, without knowing Brahman, everything that you have achieved is just a dash between two dates on the gravestone. A very grave matter. So all the things, all your awards, all the person's achievements, 5 jobs, 3 marriages, 10 children, all that is what? 1900-1975, gone. Everything is a big dash in between. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. No, but what if I was some great scientist, mathematician, astronomer, Stephen Hawking, Ramanujam, all these scientists, they were all, yes, they left something behind, they furthered this, and we remember them, we give them kudos, but are they here to enjoy it? No. They are not here to enjoy it at all. So anything that you accrue is dropped when you leave this body. So therefore, prak sharira visrasaha, before the dropping of the body, if you accrue the knowledge that I am Brahman, then what happens? That is one thing that stays with you, because that makes the difference between sorrow and endless, unbridled ananda, sorrow and limitlessness, finitude and infinite. So that is what makes the difference, and so therefore one has to understand. For these reasons, here in this body alone is the correct time. And so this is why, so that one does not keep crying. So we don't, sharirattvaya nakalpate. You don't get ready for the next life. You don't start making a reservation for the next life. Like when people go in unreserved buses and train compartments, what do? The empty bus is just moving into the parking spot. They run along with the bus, half running, half climbing into the window like a small monkey, and they take out the hanky from their pocket and put it there on the seat. Reservation, arakshanam. Reservation for what? Bus journey. So then they are happy. Then they go have their chai and then come, and by that time what? Somebody has not only sat on the seat, but used their hanky to blow into it. Okay, this is what happens. Even with our local buses and trains, what to talk about? Next life, arakshanam. You cannot say, I'm reserving a seat in Indraloka. I loved my ancestors. I want to see how they lived. And so I'm reserving a seat in Pitraloka. You cannot go, no hanky there, no panky there, no hanky-panky there, no mischief possible. No, but I have done the karma. Karma is what? Hit and miss. You see how time and space are conjoined. Because here means in this body. It's not, the body is a place of recognition, all right, but here means ihaiva, in this body, right now I have to get this knowledge, because you cannot do arakshanam of Brahmaloka and other lokas. I am not saying, the next mantra it's coming, it will tell you that. So you cannot do any kind of reservation. Why? Because it's a hit and miss. So, if you do 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, and in the 68th Ashwamedha Yajna, the bricks, the homemade brick had a crack, then you will not get Aindra Padam. You will not become Indra. Oh, but I didn't even know it had a crack. Doesn't matter, it had a crack, we saw. So, therefore what? You will not get this padam. Karma phala is in accordance with karma. Going to other lokas is a lot of ayasa. You get tired of preparing, just like the man who reserved his seat in the bus, running, and then lot of ayasa, and then put the hanky there, and then went off like that, went off to live his life, live it up with a cup of chai, came and then gone. Hanky also gone, seat also gone. And so like this, it is very difficult to do arakshanam, reservation. So because why? The knowledge of Brahman is tatkal, right here, right now, immediate, no reservation needed. All you need is your buddhi, which is ready to function. And so this is exactly what we have to understand here. Very, very beautiful. This whole section, this and the next mantra also. And what else is there in the mantra? What does it say? Tataha sargeshu lokeshu. Sargeshu lokeshu means in various lokas. You will be put in the loka by Bhagavan. Bhagavan gives karma phala. You don't choose the loka. Loka chooses you. Yeah, you don't choose the lokas. Bhagavan makes you acquire the body in various lokas depending on the karma. Bhashyam. Tacha iha jivanneva chet yadi ashakat shaktah san janati iti etat bhayakaranam brahma bodhum avagantum. So, tacha, further what? It must be known right here, right now. Iha means jivan eva, while living, while in this body alone, it must be known. Yadi ashakat means shaktaha, it has to be converted into capable. Past passive participle, it is converted. Shaktaha san, having this capacity, janati. Capacity brings in all the adhikaritvam, shamadama, shraddha, etc. So, equipped with all the qualities, shaktah san janati iti etat. We have to read it as shaktah san janati. So, the person knows, is equipped in this life itself to know, and then knows. Then Adi Shankara, instead of completing the shloka, says, knows what? Kim janati bhayakaranam brahma janati. This Brahman which was earlier, presented as the cause of fear, because of whose niyamas, because of whose order everything functions in an orderly way, that Brahman has to be known as the order of this very buddhi, where the knowledge is taking place. That every pratiti is because of Brahman. On the micro level, as Atmatvena janati, this bhayakaranam Brahma for the Jagat, but mokshakaranam Brahma for me. For that bhayakaranam Brahma, from the standpoint of the Jagat, that which is a cause of fear is what? Is a cause of ananda for me. Ananda karanam for me, and abhayakaranam for me. Abhayam pratishtham vindate tato so bhayangato bhavati. Abhayakaranam Brahma. This bhayakaranam Brahma, how do I know? As abhayakaranam Atma. That is what Brahman is. Brahman is cause of no fear. Because of my ajnanam, I think Ishvara is somebody to be afraid of. And the religions also promote it, because even the Bhagavan, even the Puranas and all tell all this. And all the religions make you have a little bit of fear at least of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is watching. Better watch out. And so therefore you better behave, because the religions want to teach dharma. But this is not the truth of Ishvara. The truth of Ishvara is something else. The truth of Ishvara is knowing which Ishvara as myself. There is not bhaya anymore. What is there? Abhaya. So for the Ajnani and for the masses, from the standpoint of the masses, it is what? Bhayakaranam Brahma. And from the standpoint of what? From the standpoint of oneself, it is what? Abhayakaranam Brahma. So then na avedit, if the person doesn't know, then athatasya bhayam asti. Yeah. Na chediha avedit atha bhayam asti. There is bhaya, fear. Then if one knows as oneself, fear is gone. So this same Brahman, which is the same Ishvara, which is Bhayakaranam for everybody, which is the same Ishvara is what? Abhayakaranam for me, the knower of the Brahman as myself, Anandakaranam. It is the Karana not of Dukkha, but Ananda. When there is no Bhaya, what is there? Ananda alone is there. So this Bhayakaranam Brahma abhayatvena atmana yah janati. The one who knows this as abhayatvena in the form of no bhaya, atmatvena as the truth of oneself at all, the one who knows when. So first he answers the question, what is to be known? And then when is the good time? The time he answers, prak purvam sharirasya visrasah avasamsranat patanat. Yeah, so you have to know this when? Before the body slips away. Before the body slips away from what? From you. Yeah, before you are disembodied, you need to know. Why? Because the body is moksha ayatanam. Moksha, for moksha, it is a vehicle for moksha. So therefore, in this body itself, right now, and what kind of body? Human body, capable of understanding Brahman, in whose buddhi there is an uninhibited shine of Brahman in the form of Chidabhasa. So uninhibited shine of Brahman, which buddhi is capable of grasping, that buddhi alone is the human buddhi. And in this buddhi, in this time itself, one has to know before the body slips away. We have seen srams is the dhatu to slip. Gandivam samsrate hastat. So visrasaha. So visrasaha means avasamsranat prak. So avasamsranat prak, patanat prak. So patanat means before the fall of this body. Then what happens? Adi Shankara supplies samsara bandhanat vimuchyate, is freed from the bondage of samsara, characterized by sorrow, birth, death, sorrow, birth, death, birth, death, sorrow, sorrow, death, birth. This is the cycle. न चेदशकत् बोद्धुं ततः अनवबोधनात् सर्गेषु सृज्यन्ते येषु स्रष्टव्याः प्राणिनः इति सर्गाः पृथिव्यादयः लोकाः तेषु सर्गेषु लोकेषु शरीरत्वाय शरीरभावाय कल्पते समर्थो भवति. Yeah. So then Adi Shankara also points out, na cha ashakat bodhum means if the person is not able to know, means tataha anavabodhanat. This has to be supplied. Tataha anavabodhanat. Without knowing this, in the event of not knowing this, sargeshu. Sargeshu means in the creation. So what is sarga? He defines. Srijyante yeshu srashtavyaha praninah sargaha. So srijyante yeshu, in which are created what? to be created, the fit to be created, srashtavyaha, that which are to be created, fit to be created, praninaha, all kinds of beings. So that the place where all kinds of beings are fit to be created is called sarga. And so this is called sarga, which is what? The 14 lokas starting with Prithvi. Prithvyadayah lokaha. Teshu lokeshu. What happens? In order to gain the body, sharira dharanaya kalpate. Jiva kalpate. The jiva gets ready to be born in order to do bhoga of more sorrow, more bhaya, if this is not known as abhaya karanam. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri